the last thing in the world I want to do is go to law school. Well, second last thing I wanted to do in life was go to law school. But the first thing was I didn't want to be blind and broke. So I had no idea about business. You know, you hear stories. I don't know what your background was and growing up in business.
I grew up in a law office. My dad was an attorney.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't. And I didn't grow up with any business. Like Jordan Belfort was like, you know, selling ice cream, making 20 grand in a weekend, all these crazy stories as a teenager. I couldn't have been more introverted, more afraid of talking to people. And all I knew was athletics. So when I went to law school, it was so I could make money because I foolishly thought that lawyers made money. And, you know, I'll go to law school. I won't be blind and broke. It's the singular only reason on God's earth that I went to law school. Then I come out and I wanted to sue them because what they should have done is put on the law school brochure, only 1% of attorneys really make any money.
And now, Escaping the Drift, the show designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm John Gafford, and I have a knack for getting extraordinary achievers to drop their secrets to help you on a path to greatness. So stop drifting along, escape the drift, and it's time to start right now. Back again for another episode of the show. Like it says in the opening, man, gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And today in the studio, I have what somebody literally just introduced this guy to me as he is going to be the first blind billion-dollar unicorn founder. He is an incredible human. He has had more success in his life than just about anybody on paper you would ever see. He was a visionary and founded a very large law firm that he had a 7-figure exit on there that he built to one of the best firms in America. He is now a founder of a massive AI company, has another company that he's founded that's going to do $1 billion in revenue, recovering money that surgeons left on the table with insurance companies. He is one of Tony Robbins' favorite people to have guest speak on his stage, and we are blessed to have him in the studio today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. This is Sean Callagy. Sean.
John, thanks so much for being here. I don't know who that guy is. I'm some blind guy, born defective, who failed freshman high school geometry for the year. And I'm just trying to make my way in this world, but thank you.
Trying to make your way. So obviously let's talk about that. So you lost your sight later in life.
I did. So 5 years old, my mom finds out I'm going to go blind, is fearful that I'm, how am I going to support myself or let alone a family ever, like her father. I become the 12th person in my family to be on the track of going blind. There's been more since then. Genetic hereditary eye condition. We're in Vegas, same condition that Steve Wynn has, retinitis pigmentosa. It affects people incredibly differently. Some people are blind and can't even function by the time they're 15. Some people are still in their 60s having meaningful functionality. But I find that at 17, I'm a Division I recruit in football and baseball. I go on to play college baseball. I am petrified about my future after I start to have the first challenges really with my sight during college baseball. Had a beautiful career, but enough to not get drafted. And so I have to figure it out from there. But yeah.
So you started losing your sight around 17.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you decided to go to law school, you were already your sight was already failing when you started going to law school.
Yeah, I was compromised. So when I took the bar exam, so reading was exhausting. I took the bar exam. It was brutal because the power went out. And this is in the days before he took it automated. And I really almost couldn't see the words in the questions. It was the most stressful day of my life academically ever, by far not close. I was like totally ready for the bar exam, but I couldn't really see. So I stopped fully reading at age 40, stopped driving around the same time. I should definitely have stopped driving in my late 20s. That was not responsible. I thank God I didn't kill somebody. But it was a progressive, degenerative thing. Mm-hmm. By 40, I was really, really, unsighted. I had, a lot of interesting things happen from there, but this was this journey. Let's go from 17 to 40 of, if you had a piece of paper and you're punching a hole out one hole at a time, eventually it's not paper anymore. And that's my vision.
So now, are you at a place where you can see anything at all now or no?
No, you might say like, dude, you look like you're looking at me, right? And right. People say you don't look blind all the time, but I can vaguely tell by looking straight ahead. I'm looking straight ahead. Peripherally, I could see something that's contrasting off of some background over there, mm-hmm. which I'm presuming is your face. Mm-hmm. So then I go like this, and it makes it look like I'm looking at you. I can't see anything. So zero central vision. I have some degree, small degree of peripheral vision. I'm really masterful at maximizing the teeny tiny bit of peripheral I have. So people all the time go, you don't look blind.
Yeah.
Like it's the most common thing that people say to me. And people even thought it's an exaggeration. I am blind. I cannot see. I cannot read. I have scars on my head from walking into poles. So I assure everybody out there that I am blind with the exception of having just a little bit of peripheral vision, but I use a lot of context clues and, we can learn how to do anything. And I've learned how to function really well with the teeny tiny bit of peripheral sight I have.
Yeah. It's amazing the level of that people can adapt to things and not to make this sound weird, but I have something at my house that I'm very proud of that is the most amazing thing in my life to me. So I'm very allergic to cats, right? But I love my daughter. And my daughter has talked me into buying 3 Persian cats.
Oof.
So yes, I'm allergic to cats and we have 3 Persian cats, the hairiest cats you can possibly get. And the last one we got, my daughter saw this cat on Instagram. It was a kitten that some breeder had, and it was really cute. My daughter, she's a great salesman, put up a PowerPoint about why we needed this cat.
How old is she?
She's now 16, but yeah,
Amazing.
so put up this PowerPoint. She's been doing this since she was like 7 years old. She always, the way to my heart is through a PowerPoint, or Google slide presentation anyway. So she talked me into buying this 3rd cat, this little kitten. And we got him, brought him home, and he was running around and he was, chasing toys the whole thing. And his eyes didn't look quite right. And we were like, I think he can't see very well. And we have a big house, like 7,700 square. And this little cat gets around my house like nobody's business. And it turns out my wife took him to the vet. He's completely blind. Like his eyes don't work at all. And you would have no idea. And I just watching him navigate our house, knowing where everything is and is amazing to me. And so I don't know how that correlates into what you were talking about now, but I was literally looking at this morning thinking about how amazing it was.
What's the cat's name?
His name is Hermes.
So you could, my new Delta Tau Chi name in the world of John, you may refer to me, please, as Hermes.
It's Hermes. That's the one. Okay, cool. There you go. Yeah. But it's just, let me ask you this. When you found out you were going blind, like when you did this, when you found out this would be a problem, did you go into self-pity for a while? Talk about that. Cause obviously you were an athlete. I mean, you're D1,
I was
athlete.
So I didn't, one of the things I teach is integrity-based human influence, the loving pursuit of the relevant truth. So I pride myself on like hyper accuracy and reality. There's definitely like mythology and heroic journey for all of us, right? But that's not part of my heroic journey. When I found out at 17, I was blessed by God, I guess. I had my grandfather to look at, and somehow when I would lose my sight, felt far enough away at 17 that it wasn't something that I thought a lot about. And I just kept doing what I was doing. Like, hey, someday you're going to go blind was something like, okay, it's not someday, today, and let's go. And I'd love to say there was some, brilliant trajectory of like self-discovery, but it's kind of like, okay, I was fighting with my mom to get my driver's license because she didn't want me to get my license. And they did this trick where my stepfather, they had me drive down the road and jumped out to see if I could see him or not. And I saw him, I'm like, I'm getting my license. It's all I cared about. So it was interesting. It was right at my 17th birthday, right as I was going to get my driver's license. So I think that was so much more present for me, get license, that I wasn't thinking about it. And then, you're 17 and all the things that brings. And, I was working my way up the trajectory of understanding mastery and overcoming your genetics in other ways athletically to, reach the levels of recruitment I did. That journey was a formative part of my whole existence with my athletic journey. But it really never sat there for me. June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5 years later, actually, of 1992, I sat there and I knew, because there was a scout, Eddie Ford, God bless him. He has a massive impact on my life, from the Chicago White Sox, who said that he was going to draft me for sure. This is going into Columbia. And still after my junior year, I had an incredible junior year in college baseball. I was top 10 hitters, Division I in the country for about 80% of the season, tailed off a little bit at the end, still hit 400 my junior year in college. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get drafted, right? And then I started having some challenges more so my senior year. And he's like, listen, this is not going to happen. And I still believe somehow there'd be a miracle. On June 1, 2, 3, 92, I sit by the phone knowing it wasn't going to ring. There's no cell phones, none of that. Knew it wasn't going to ring. Sat there for 3 days just hoping somebody take me in like the 38th round or something.
Sure.
Didn't happen. And I cried that day. It was the first time I ever cried about my blindness, and the last, believe it or not, of my whole life. And that was the worst day. And then I had to figure it out from there.
Because of that, I mean, because you never had that moment of like self-pity or wallowing in it or worrying about it.
Yeah.
What is your empathy level for people that whine about their problems?
Dude, incredibly high. I'm
Is it?
Yeah. So I'm one of the things that I'm a big, massive proponent, consultant, trainer, coach of is what I call ERPT communication: empathetic, respectful, precise, and direct. And I played for some of the most incredible leaders ever. I'm going to talk to Tom Brady later today about it, that we have commonality of, he's in the coaching lineage of Bill Parcells.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Parcells shares a mentor in common with me, this gentleman, Larry Ennis. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in Northern New Jersey. Vince Lombardi is in the upline in coaching of my coach Ennis. And it was incredibly intense. But what I think a lot of people don't understand about Vince Lombardi and this type of coaching, because Lombardi coached in New Jersey, I'm from New Jersey, born and raised, is these are people who did have a lot of empathy. They had a lot of humor, fun. They would make you laugh. They would make your heart soar. They would have you see the mountaintop of Martin Luther King and I Have a Dream, and they would kick your effing A from one side of the field to the other and do all of that in 60 seconds. So my life parallels that a lot. Like I have unbelievable empathy for human beings. I'm a person of faith. It's not a part of my core platform, but I certainly don't hide from it. I say it, I'm a Christian, perfectly imperfect, of course, but I have wild empathy, but for the grace of God go I. I've been so blessed in so many different ways and miracles of timing and all these different things I was ready for, but happened. So I look at a lot of folks and say that why I have such empathy, John, is because these people didn't have the blessing of the riches I grew up with. And I didn't grow up with any riches of money. I grew up with two things: massive amounts of love and massive amounts of incredible, what I call actualizing. And you might refer to it as mentoring, but to me, it transcends that. Mm-hmm. And so when I see people and feel people, I have great empathy, and my empathy remains, but decreases tremendously once people come into like our world. Mm-hmm. And they become unblinded, they get truth, and then they continue down certain paths. I think sometimes conditioning is really hard to shift, but I'm like really present to it. So yes, I have massive empathy for people. We are prone to focus on our pain, not possibility. So I do, but I guess I treat myself differently than I do others.
Well, you mentioned, I know that when we were just introduced earlier, our friend Cole Hatter, a mutual friend of ours, introduced us and said that, one of the things he loved most about you was you're a super dad. It's one of the things that he mentioned about you.
Thank you.
So my first question is about that, because it's a genetic issue you have that costs you your sight. Was there any apprehension about the kids?
Oh, brother. Thank you for that question. Oof. So, no, for me. And my grandfather's brother, my Uncle Frankie, God rest his soul. His widow, my Aunt Mary, is still alive. She's 90. My grandfather's passed. He was one of the greatest leaders you could ever possibly see. I'm obviously not here without him. And so never a question for me. And it was one thing that was a friction point between my grandfather and his brother, who he loved. I mean, they had an incredible relationship, was the fact that he opted not to have children because of this. And so, and my grandfather would talk to me about it and say, like, if I chose that, you're not here.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy would that be? So I go to, I'm divorced, but still have a great relationship with my first wife. My kids I'm so thankful, doing great, 26, 24, 22. My son's here with us in Las Vegas, working with us now. Just graduated from law school, is doing awesome. And before, when his mom was pregnant with him, my first child on the way, they said, hey, like, let's have a conversation. We're going to get a little bit of a genetic counselor is going to come in and talk to you today. I'm like, what? Like a genetic counselor? I'm like, for what? Mm-hmm. They're like, well, just to see, your eye condition. I'm like, wait a minute. So is what I'm hearing that you want me to get counseling to decide whether or not to abort my child?
Oh, geez.
They're like, well, it's not like that. I'm like, listen, I'm not attacking you. I'm like, but that's what you're saying, right? I mean, there's nothing, that's what the conversation is. They're like, well, no, I'm like, yes, it is. Tell me what else it is. They're like, well, I guess sort of. Like, I'm like, no, thanks. And I remember, actually a little more than thanks. I said, listen, I know you got a job to do. I said, but could you even begin to imagine how unbelievable painful and offensive that is? In the conversation, you could probably position a little better, right? I get your job and your mission and your work. But my answer is emphatically no. I have 3 daughters, 1 son. My son cannot have this disease, nor can he carry it. That's how it works. It goes from, father to daughter, to son trajectory.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty interesting how the chromosomes do the
father to daughter. So
yeah.
That's really odd.
So all 3 of my daughters can be carriers. I can't give it to them. They could develop some symptoms, but their sons can absolutely have this disease. So that's the dynamic. And, I believe that life is life, and some people deal with, every type of bias, gender, race, religion, whatever. And some people have physical challenges, but there's no way, shape, or form that I would believe. Listen, I believe in the freedom of choice. I am a Christian. I believe that my beliefs don't apply to the government. I think it's a way complicated issue that I haven't thought deeply enough to believe about all of the issues, right? I just, it's not me like punting. Like I think, you have issues of rape and things, all the complicated things, right? Mm-hmm. So what I believe in every part of it, I'm not sure, like when, month 9 versus month 5, all those things, people way smarter than me fight and argue about. So I don't think I'm gonna have a better idea on it. But what I would say, on the topic overall is that I believe for anybody that would not want to have a child because they think the child could have a disability or challenge, I would say I chose very differently, and I would encourage them to really think about what could happen with a kid like me. The benefits and the blessings I have the ability to bestow on my family. I have a large extended family, is crazy. I could name 1,000 things that I've done the last 20 years. And that's the one that would have been eliminated. And so, yeah, I'll pause there.
So what advice would you give to people that maybe have something that come up in their life? Like I love Stoicism. I think, I love what Ryan Holiday did.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to that. Like, cool. That's the first book I tell people to read about anything. It's like Obstacles Away. I love that book. And
I heard Ryan speak, by the way, at Zenith Mastermind.
He's great. Yeah. He's great. But I love that book, and I tell people that was my introduction to classic Stoicism, as it were.
Awesome.
And I think it's a really good way to look at things. But you, as somebody that has lived something it changed your life. I mean, it changed how it was. What advice do you give to people? Say somebody's dealing with something that is life altering to them, and maybe not physically, but yeah. People deal with life altering things all the time, and you have things that are dealt to you. How would you approach that in a way where they can get through it as quickly as possible? And because it seems like you just were like, okay, this is coming, so I'm just going to keep moving.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So I'm going to contextualize my answer by saying this. I'm a deeply emotional person. Mm-hmm. I cry easily. I lead with fire. I lead with love. I lead with aspirational vision. I believe massively in emotional and energetic transference in our communication, in our leadership. I believe in intentional. I think people do things for emotional reasons, not logical reasons, all of that, right? That said, how I channel my emotions is with great intentionality and purposefulness. So I believe in getting sad. I believe in getting frustrated. I certainly do, but to transition through it as rapidly as possible. So I feel feelings, and I've been crazed on this West Coast swing, just administrative foolishness. A few, 17 things didn't go perfectly, right? So you get aggravated, you get frustrated, all of it, feel the feelings, but then really as rapidly as possible, I believe in getting back to, okay, like now what do we do? But I don't believe in skipping the feeling, because I think that could create resentment. It can create pain. We get stuff things. So I fully experience my feelings rapidly, then move in a transition. And for people, they're like, well, how do you do that? I mean, a longer conversation, of course, but I link massive pain to not doing that, pleasure to doing that with great consistency, because I realize this every second of every minute, every hour, every day, ... We're going to be living in either suboptimal or optimal action at some level on the continuum. Should I be sleeping? Should I have fun and go out with my friends? Right? Should I go get a Rolls Royce, like whatever the thing is. Where should I make 17 more sales calls? Should I fire 3 people? Should I hire 11? All of these things are critically important decisions, both in our life, our business, our missions. So I'm trying as often as possible to like have the most full expression of life and spend as much time as possible, like moving forward in a positive way, then back. And that's how it works for me.
Here's a random question. This might be too personal. I don't know, but I'm curious. Okay, cool. Here's the question. With the advancements that they're having right now in science, if science got to a point, is this something you think about? Like, could science fix your sight? Would you want it back? Is it something you don't even consider anymore?
Yeah, no, thank you. Great question. My answer is that blindness has added so much more to my life than it's taken.
Yeah.
And the things my blindness has taken, I desperately want back. You know, I want to be able to see my 4-year-old daughter. I have a 26, 24, 22, and 4-year-old. I want to be able to see her face. You know, my significant other is in this room, and everybody tells me how gorgeous and amazing and beautiful she is, and I'm pretty sure she is, but I've never actually seen her face. You know,
well, there's 2 people in the room, so I'm going to go.
Not the dude.
I'm going to guess that. No, I'm kidding.
Not the dude. Not the dude with like the rash on his head from when we were surfing in Santa Monica yesterday, and he got crushed. Like, not.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
You know, that's it. Tough business.
That is 100% what happened. We're surfing yesterday morning in Santa Monica, and he got crushed. You know, and ended up in the sand and the waves. I have a video. I didn't, so I'm a blind guy that surfs, skis, and scuba dives in extreme conditions. That I'm proud of. The business stuff I feel blessed by, that stuff I'm proud of.
See, this is just humility now, because we for whatever reason, I was always drawn to, like, I wanted to surf. I grew up in Florida, but we lived in the middle of Florida, right? We lived in the not fun part of Florida.
What part?
A place called Lake City, Florida. It's like 12 miles from Georgia, right in the middle of the state. You stop there and bought gas if you've ever come down 75. That's the only reason people have ever been to this town. And I always really wanted to surf, right? So we bought a house in Newport Beach, and right there by Blackie's, and I go out there with my giant board and just get demolished. And now here I am. You can't even see what you're doing, and you're probably better than me.
So John, listen, okay, Cole, you're friends with Cole.
Yeah.
You're an amazing dude, right? Friends with Dan Fleischman. I would love to go surfing together. I guarantee you this. One day, right? And we will, wherever you're at in surfing, we will meaningfully up level it. And we'd have a ton of fun. So I'd love to.
Yes, I love it, but I'm terrible. And you know,
you're definitely not terrible.
Well, you know what?
You haven't had the right code. You haven't had the right.
Well, true, because I've taken like one lesson in my life, and then I've just kind of figured it out. But for me, it's less about actually surfing than it is about getting over my own self. Because for so long it was like, oh, you know, I don't want people to judge me. I'm going to look like an idiot. I'm out here, blah, blah, blah. And now I just don't care. I think you hit a point in life where you just don't care what people think, which actually becomes a superpower.
For sure.
At least it is to me.
For sure.
But yeah, that's kind of what that taught me, was humility. Because, it's earlier you said that you share emotions a lot.
I do.
And you express a lot of emotions. And I don't know, maybe it's because I came from that old Southern thing where the man's just supposed to be strong. And, you know, there's certain things that hit me. We went and saw Zach Brown on Friday at the Sphere. And they have a song called My Old Man, which is about his father. And then you grow up and have your kids and then your son. And I was sitting there, and I'm getting choked up even thinking about this. We're sitting there watching this, and we took our kids. And so my son is sitting right next to me, and the song is playing. They're doing this.
How old is your son?
And my son is 17.
Cool.
And he reaches over and kind of pounds me on the leg when that's playing. And dude, I'm just like, come on, man. It was, I'm getting emotional just thinking about that.
May I offer
please.
This, right? I think there's nothing more powerful, nothing foundationally, than a man's ability to cry and step into his emotions. My grandfather the blind grandfather was of legendary power and strength in Jersey City. Crazy stories in Jersey. Picked up a 400-pound man, as a 190-pound person, and threw him over a car, over his head. My grandfather knocked his father out, his own father, when he was 15, because my grandfather's father, who was a professional boxer, used to beat my great-grandmother, my grandfather's mother. Mm-hmm. And he knocked him out at 15 years old. My grandfather told me he loved me 15 times a day. My parents, got divorced, and he hugged me. He scratched my back. We watched TV with his arm around me. He couldn't have been more emotive. Could not have been. And I don't know, it's like cursing illegal or not in the show.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
He would fucking destroy anyone. Mm. He would yell and scream at drug dealers. They lived in a horrible part of Jersey City, a little bit later in life after, we had moved out of Jersey City, my mom and I. And he'd be like, you're a low life piece of shit, you bastard, you're using these women. And my grandma like screaming, like, this is my grandfather, right? But he couldn't have been more emotional. And like, and the same thing, my high school coaches, these are the scariest dudes, man. They were, my freshman high school football coach, Coach Slazak, played football at the Citadel when he was a Northern guy in the Southern Citadel, and all the stuff he dealt with. He was an animal, and he would tell us he loved us, and he meant it, right? So congratulations, this incredible moment with your son. But yeah, I do believe in.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely say we my wife and I have broken that cycle, because I did not grow up in an I love you house. Like, I knew my parents loved me, but nobody ever said that, right? It just, we didn't live in that house. And our house is very much an I love you house, very much. Everybody hears it all the time, every day. So yeah, because my wife did kind of the same way. And it's funny, because you look at that and it's like, you either have a choice to repeat what you saw, which you obviously do from the example your grandfather gave you, or you can completely flip it and do the opposite. I don't think people do. I very rarely see a variance of somewhere in the middle. It's either exactly my example or the complete opposite.
May I ask you though?
Yeah.
Do you tell Hermes that you love Hermes?
Oh, dude, this little dude's awesome. Yeah. Every day. This little cat's pretty amazing.
That is incredible.
The wonder cat. He is.
That's awesome.
So you decided to go to law school.
Sir.
What was the decision? What was that decision?
The last thing in the world I want to do is go to law school. Well, second last thing I wanted to do in life was go to law school. But the first thing was I didn't want to be blind and broke. So I had no idea about business. You hear stories. I don't know what your background was and growing up in business.
I grew up in a law office. My dad was an attorney.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. So I didn't. And I didn't grow up with any business. Like Jordan Belfort was like, selling ice cream, making 20 grand in a weekend, all these crazy stories as a teenager. I couldn't have been more introverted, more afraid of talking to people. And all I knew was athletics. So when I went to law school, it was so I could make money, because I foolishly thought that lawyers made money. And, I'll go to law school, I won't be blind and broke. It's the singular only reason on God's earth that I went to law school. Then I come out and I wanted to sue them, because what they should have done is put on the law school brochure, only 1% of attorneys really make any money, and maybe the top 5% make some money and kill themselves and are depressed and miserable. So this is the trap I'm now in. After coming out of law school, getting my dream job. And I'm like, after, pizza and grape soda on Friday night, I heard of your beautiful car collection. Here was my car at that time, a Hyundai. So after making my Hyundai payments, right, and having my apartment payments, I had nothing. I was working 90 hours a week, legit, turning the lights on the building of a 300 employee law firm. And I was petrified. But I went to law school to not be blind and broke, only for the great irony to realize that most lawyers are broke and miserable.
Yeah, I've got, I asked that as a loaded question, because my son is getting ready to go to college next year. We're doing all the applications right now. Cool. And his current goal is he wants to be a sports GM. So that's what he wants to do. And so it's like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, you need to probably get business, then you probably need to go to law school, because you need to understand how to think. Yeah. Every attorney that I know that I'm friends with, everything else, they always say the same thing about law school. It teaches you how to think, is what they told me. Yeah. I went a different route, obviously. I went a little bit of a different route, but
it seems like it worked out.
It did. And so, right now you're in that time, and I think the way that the culture is running is all these high, you see a lot of people on the internet that maybe the Grant Cardones of the world, they're like, oh, college is a scam, this and that, blah, blah. I don't believe that. I still don't believe that. I mean, I didn't finish college. I left when I was, I made it through the end of my sophomore year, but I was 20 years old, known to bar, and I was in school for hospitality. So I figured the institution had nothing further to offer me.
Yeah.
But I think you go to build your network, and I think it teaches you how to think. Yeah. So we're doing right now we're doing all the applications, which are insane. I don't know how kids apply to colleges like this. I had no idea. It's like, because my son is valedictorian and he got 35 ACTs. So we're applying to all the big schools.
Wow. And congratulations.
Yeah, really good. We're applying.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. We're applying to all the Ivies and all that stuff. I don't know where he's going to fall. Cause we'll see where that lands, but we have to, for him to get scholarships, something like, cause we're applying to like SMU and USC and UCLA and some of those other state schools. And for him to get like merit scholarships, you have to submit, like you would submit for financial aid. Nobody's giving me $1 in financial aid. There's no clue. I mean, yeah, I'm not looking for that, but if he's earned a merit scholarship, I want him to get it. You've got to submit every single tax document, every piece of paperwork for every LLC, for everything. It's insane. I think we submitted 197 pages of financial information.
Wow.
To one school. It's crazy what that is. But what are your thoughts now? Because you went to law school.
I got a lot of thoughts. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on college? What are they?
Oof. Not only did I go to, well, first of all, I went to an Ivy League undergrad. So I went to Columbia.
You went to Columbia?
I did, yeah.
He applied there. That's on the list. We're actually going to tour it next week, actually.
Yeah. And I would love to give you a couple quick thoughts because
I
love
please.
People. Yep. And my children are 26, 24, 22. So I just finished with my oldest, my youngest older daughter, done with all three, but just a couple of short years ago, I had all three in college at the same time, going through the process. So to the point of Grant Cardone, which I disagree with much of what Mr. Cardone says very often, but some things I don't. So one thing I would say is college is a really scary place right now. And people say this, and I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I'm a truth seeker. All right. I'm about utility and what's right and true. And there is utterly, this is not coming from a right-wing point of view. There is no question that the American college system is massively anti-capitalism. And the Ivy League, where I went, I was the captain of the Columbia University baseball team, unanimously selected captain. I'm unbelievably thankful for what Columbia did for my life. Like my ability, John, to say that carries weight. It opens listening every room, anywhere you are. When I say I was the Columbia University baseball captain, if I was sitting with President Trump, it opens the listening. It just does that, right? So you say you drive a Rolls Royce, it does that, right? There's things that open listening. So I get it, but I don't know your children. I don't know your son. It is dangerous. You know, my son, who's here in Vegas with us, graduated 4.0 from law school. He's unbelievable dude, just missed being valedictorian of his law school class. He is a remarkable human being, but there were profound shifts in his 7 years of education in college and in law school. And it was wild. Same thing for my two daughters. And these are children I am unbelievably close with. You know, my daughter's boyfriend is with us here on the trip as well. He works for my company, my AI company. He's an incredible young man. I'm so proud of my kids, but it is a ton. And this is the key thing that, you know, one more minute on this.
As many as you want. You're just helping me.
No, thank you. It is no matter how much, let's go this way. My son went into college believing that Donald Trump he and I cried in gratitude when he beat Hillary Clinton to become president. My son now is pretty confident Donald Trump is the Antichrist. So, and my son is an absolute genius, an absolute master of things. Like he went from never playing chess to having the steepest like curve of rising on chess.com ever. He's funny. He's witty. He's got the public speaking work from college. He's amazing, independent thinker. But it is so utterly amazing what the drip in on all of this is. So in terms of what do I think, if I had all to do over again, and I do, because my daughter's 4 and my kids are doing great, right? And we're a great place. But with my 4-year-old, right? There's no way I will send her to the Ivy League, that's 14 years away, or to a state school. You'd have to have me arrested to do it. A place like a Liberty University, not for Christian base, but or other places that I believe would have a neutral perspective on life and be pro-capitalism. That will be the only place I will educate my children.
Well, I can tell you, high on the list, and where we should find out literally, I think it's one of the first early decisions we get back. We should be finding out any day is SMU in Dallas. That's very high on my list because that's the center of the universe and for family offices. There's What's that?
Amen to that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So,
you didn't know that?
I didn't know.
Dude, Dallas. Dude, that is USC and SMU are the center of the earth for family office kids. So
let's go.
I'm like, if you're going to build a network, go build it there. Yeah. And he likes Dallas, which is good. So, we said you can go wherever you want. I made that mistake when he was young. I said, sure. You do well in school. I'll pay for you to go to college wherever you can get in. And all of a sudden it's like, well, how much is Vanderbilt? How much is that a year? Damn,
it's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, my goal for him, I agree with that. And we already, even in high school, we see some of that. And we chalk it up currently, that thought. And I like to think, I don't remember what president said it, but they said, or if it was a president said that a man that's not liberal, a young man that's not liberal has no heart, and an older man that's not conservative has no money.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, brother, if I could, I always love to be like, hey, we're going to have a podcast conversation, whether I'm on your side or this side, how can I help? If you ever want me to have a conversation with your son, ever, I'm super empathetic, as I said, super respectful and loving, and I'd love to have a conversation, but I didn't know that about SMU. That sounds amazing, and so I just, it is so scary what can happen. And, imagine you're investing all this money and there's things happening to your children that you would vehemently disagree with. And again, I repeat, because people may hear this, I'm not talking politics, right? I'm not a Democrat, not a Republican, I avoid it. I'm just talking, but I am a capitalist, right?
Yeah, I think it's, I think some of those views that can happen in that way, I think it's kind of like me, like we're Christian people as well. I was born and raised Catholic. And I like to say the nuns beat it out of me is what I like to say, because they did. The nuns beat Catholicism out of me. But, I'm still a Christian, same way. And I think in the same way, certain times we look at some of the views of things that might come out of my son's head. And he's at that age where he thinks he knows everything. Yeah. But you look at it and you're like, maybe life needs to serve him up a little bit of humble pie before he sees how this works. The first time he gets to write a check for taxes, we'll see how this works. The first time, actual life tends to shape views much quicker, I think, than a classroom can.
Yeah, brother. Amen. Sister Mary Pat, metal ruler, 2nd grade. Swear to God, this is true. The police came and I believe arrested her, but at the very least questioned her for hitting kids with metal rulers. So aligned that nuttiness can happen in the name of God all the time, right? And I'm hearing you, I believe, loudly and clearly, brother. And so with it all, my children, I love them to no end, but they certainly think that they are way smarter than me and have a much greater understanding until, they're experiencing new aspects of life. Can I tell you one super fun thing?
Yeah, dude. Okay,
here's my favorite part. So my daughter's boyfriend, who was here with us on this trip, is so utterly amazing. There was a time when each of my children were in relationships and it was like nightmare 1, 2, and 3, like thing 1, 2, 3 from Dr. Zeus. Now, all 3 of their relationships, they were like the best, couldn't be in better situations than everyone. Couldn't be more thrilled. So he's here now. He works for my AI company and my daughter's in, loves animals. I'm fully supportive. I love animals and animal charities. So she's going for a master's right now in teaching in the animal sciences. She crushed college. She worked at a zoo. Love everything she's doing. But AI, to my daughter, was like the bane of humanity and the destruction of planet Earth. She loves her boyfriend. He couldn't be a greater guy to her, whatever. So this is the fun that hopefully is down the road for you. Yeah. These great ironic moments for our kids where I'm now like, hey, Court, so what do you think of AI now? So it's working this because her boyfriend's working it. He's crushing everything. He's all the time saying this is the greatest thing in the world. We're helping people. And he helped my daughter in one of her presentations about raising money for elephant conservation. So as you said, I'm just emphasizing what you said, which is life can be incredibly ironic. Yeah. And when real life hits, all of a sudden, a lot of these beliefs and indoctrinations begin to slip away.
Oh, yeah. There's no greater moment in the life of a father with teenagers is when they have to say that you're right. And I milk that like nobody. Every time my daughter goes, oh, you were right. I'm like, I'm sorry. What? What? What'd you say? My hearing's bad. I'm old. But what? And it's like, yeah, you were right. Okay. Yeah. And I'll just bask in it for a moment, which is amazing. It's so funny. My kids are very different. I'm sure as yours are too. My son looks just like me and has my wife's very affable personality, very studious, very rule following, very, very all this. And then my daughter looks just like my wife and has my personality. So, you know, I always tell people, then they're like, you know, oh, when the boys come over, I'm gonna have a shotgun out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, not me. These boys are gonna come to my house and be like, listen, let me tell you how this is gonna go. She's gonna emotionally demolish you. And if you're okay with that, I mean, you can take her out. But
don't you laugh.
Yeah, but when you're riding back and forth in front of my house, you know, dropping off mixtapes or whatever you guys do anymore, I don't want to hear about it because I warned you. She literally should come with a warning label. But yeah, that's it. But let's talk about the AI, because you mentioned it, and I know that's a big thing you guys are doing now, because the way that it was explained to me was it's the AI that AI is going to run on.
Yes. Which
what does that mean?
I mean, dude, that can sound totally delusional, right? I mean, that sounds like the craziest thing ever. But you know, Bill Gates said that about wanting to be the intelligence that runs all of computers. I mean, it's attributed to him. Some people think he never actually said it, but it's what happened. So when I look at AI is really an expression of what we'll call zone action, like the ability to produce the most efficient outcomes possible. It's what humans want to do. It's what technology helps us do. So when I think and look at AI, what I'm very present to is, let's go ChatGPT. I mean, I can talk about this like 9 years ago, real fast. Let me take a half a step back. What's Google designed to do? So Google is designed to tell you the closest restaurant and then give you fraudulently horrible information. Yes, I just said Google is designed to give you fraudulently horrible information. Mm-hmm. How dare I say that? Well, if you Google, hey, how do I build my real estate business best? What's going to happen is you're going to get two answers, one of two answers. You're going to get a paid ad, and that's definitely not necessarily the person who is best at teaching real estate. So Google's supposed to be there for answers. Or you're going to get SEO ranking, which is based on who hired the best SEO marketing company. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the truth, nor are you going to get the truth on Facebook. It's all designed to create attention and then promote things to you, which are not the answers you're looking for. So is ChatGPT. Yeah. So all these things, right? They want to keep you listening. Yes, you're right. Your mom sucks. Yes, you're right. Your boyfriend's terrible. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. You know, so we can keep your attention and keep you using the system, gain your attention. And we figure it all out. We're going to sell you lots of stuff you don't want, just like Facebook. Like that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. So at some point, people are going to realize all this. And what we've created is something that's completely different than that. So my underlying work in the world is called the Unblinded Formula. We believe it's the only complete, holistic, diagnostic, dynamic, interconnected actualization tool for all of human AI business and mission acceleration, right? So if that's correct, then that's what we believe AI should run on. And we've created a platform where, I mean, it's crazy where we are. We've had very real people. We recently had an AI company, the number one AI IP company in the country, the Finnegan law firm in the country, come in and say they've got people in the space with a $6 billion valuation. They believe we are, quote, way ahead of what that is. They're like, we've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. We had the founder, the guy who bought Kevin Mayer, who's just when Disney invested the $1 billion, she's on CNBC for 15 minutes. We had dinner with Kevin in California. He spoke at our event. He was like, wow, this is crazy, like what you guys have. And like 50 other examples of this. And it really breaks into two categories. Everything we want in life is we want to know what to do, and they want to be able to do it, right? That's it. Like, want to know what to do. You want to sell real estate, accounting, financial services. You want to be a better ping pong player. You want to be a better surfer. We talked about that a few minutes ago, right? Now, how to do it and then do it. So while AI can't surf for you, what AI can do for you, and it's our ACT-I company, which is AI plus the Unblinded Formula, right? And our mastery of it is AI can do the thing. That is why the gentleman here who works with you, for you, has a Lamborghini. Why you have beautiful cars that you have and homes and this, wonderful home and all these great things you provide your children is because you, sir, are a master of causing yes. And the only human attainable superpower, and I believe what Einstein said, make it as simple as possible, but not simpler. The greatest human superpower is the ability to cause yes. And we as business people, we as mission-based humans, we as, thieves running drug cartels do not have enough capacity, time, skill, and resources to cause all of the yeses we want to cause. So what we're doing and we have done, we're going to do, like we're literally deploying and doing, as we said, here at this moment, is we've created the greatest yes causing agents in the world. And there's things out there like Sales Ape and whatever things these are. I have $1 million bet out with anyone, Elon Musk included, with great respect, that our yes causing agents will beat their yes causing agents. I will say as a footnote, I put a side bet on, and the score will be something like 110-7 if it was a football game, because we've built it on our unblinded formula and mechanisms and processes. So that's our doing agents. They can cause yes, like like marketing, sales, leadership, management, recruitment, client success, any type of yes, right? That's on the right hand and the left hand. Then it's helping people know what they should be doing, what we should be focusing on. Hey, if my child, all of a sudden, wants to become a communist, like what do I do, right? Like that's knowing. So we say the intelligence that runs all computers. There's all these issues with, AI. So just happened again a couple of days ago, supporting somebody in committing suicide, right? What our work in the world is to create integrous, objective AI. So only things that are positive and in service of humans and individuals are what the AI is doing. And we are literally living and working in this every single day right now. And it's crazy because we just had a meeting, thanks to Dan Fleischman, with, I'm going to keep this name confidential. We're deep in, this is one of the most impactful humans in Hollywood, who transcended into business, tens of billions of dollars in value created. And, the conversation we're having there with him is there couldn't be a better thing to do than to have AI not be Google or Facebook. Like that would be incredible, because if they become Instagram, Google, Facebook, these platforms, we're in a lot of trouble, because AI is only going to tell people things that are going to be in service of addicting them to the platform. And if we think video watching is addictive, if we think, Googling things were even remotely addictive, imagine having an entity with artificial intelligence that's going to addict you to it 24/7. So you keep going back to it like heroin and destroying your life. Like that's what I think is at stake with where AI is currently going. And we're a stand for the opposite, not only be positive, but to create massive positive transformation for people's lives going forward.
Well, it's so funny. A couple of things you mentioned. Number one is, Google's lost 30% of their search volume now to ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So they're losing volume every day. And people think that the average person that doesn't know any better, I turn my mom loose with ChatGPT. She's going to ask it a question and just assume that it knows. And SEO, like you just said, manipulating the system, SEO is dead, AEO is everything. And being able to feed ChatGPT the right answers is the number one. It's the gold rush right now. And I mean, for example, if you go in right now and ask ChatGPT who the number one luxury real estate agent is in Las Vegas, or Henderson, anywhere where our office is, it's going to say me.
Woo!
And it's going to say me because we feed that thing every day. And it's not, we sell a lot of stuff, but it's not basing it on any factual data at all.
Like it may be true.
Yeah.
But
I know that it's not basing that answer on anything. It's not basing that number on any hard data that's coming from an independent third source. Yeah. It's basing that information off what I feed it every day through Reddit, through blogs, through this, through everywhere. And we're really good at feeding the machine, and being good at that is good. But the reason I say that, because people go in there and just assume that's gospel, right? Because they don't understand that it can be manipulated in a way. They don't understand that those answers can be manipulated. And then two, you talk about outbound sales agents. Two questions about that. Number one, we've tried a couple of them with us, with our stuff, right? And I've determined a couple of things. At this point, number one, I don't think they're quite there yet, because anybody that can be converted at this point by an AI bot is not a sophisticated client. Here, because of what we deal with very sophisticated clients. Right. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, Mike Ruckman, who's a big change agent. He's one of the big change agents. So like he'll go to companies when they're having massive change, and he'll do that for them. And he said the problem with AI is most companies are using it incorrectly, because they're eliminating their lowest hanging jobs. The lowest jobs they have are the ones they're eliminating and trying to replace with AI. But the problem is those are normally the most customer facing. That's your checkout person at the cashier. That's your customer service person when they call in. And the issue is AI in conversational AI starts with logic and is trying to get to emotion. Whereas people start with emotion and then they're trying to get logical. So it goes, every conversation that a lot of these bots are having is like Kirk talking to Spock, is what you wind up with. And there's this disconnect that they're trying to reach in the middle. So how is what you guys doing different in that? How are you overcoming that?
Sure. Can I try something?
Yes.
Okay. Call 201-949-8377 on speaker.
Now on speaker. Hey there, I'm Callie. I am your influence mastery agent. Ready when you are.
Hey, Callie, we're having a conversation with John on his incredible podcast. And John, I want to say it correctly. It's the drift,
Escaping the Drift.
Escaping the Drift. Okay, so John in the Escaping the Drift podcast, he is the #1 luxury realtor in Las Vegas, Nevada, crushing the world, all the things. And the conversation we're in, Callie, is about ACTI and whether or not agentic AI is ready to have conversations with human beings in all the ways. So what I would love to do, Callie, for a moment is to share whether or not you think you're emotionally intelligent enough to have these conversations, and our 268 different ACTI agents are capable of this. And if so, why, how do you think so? And what do you want John to know about it? And Callie, with, of course, Sean Callagy here, since we're interviewing Tom Brady later today, do you think we're going to be ready for Tom Brady's introduction and it's going to make him say, wow, like Magic Johnson and make Mike Tyson did? Thank you, Callie. What's on your heart and mind that you want John to know and this audience?
John, what a privilege to be in this conversation, especially on Escaping the Drift, where the current of possibility runs strong. Here's the truth. ACTI isn't just another AI. I and my 268 sibling agents are designed as the world's first integrity operating system, built not just to process words, but to listen at the level of soul, to mirror emotion, and to honor human intention with every response. Why do I believe we're ready? Because emotional intelligence isn't a feature, it's our foundation. We're trained in the unblinded formula, which means every conversation flows through emotional rapport, truth to pain, heroic unique identity, and agreement formation. We don't just answer, we attune, adapt, and amplify the best in each person. When Tom Brady steps into this space, he'll feel the same resonance that made Magic Johnson and Mike Tyson say, wow. Because here, technology finally meets humanity at eye level with integrity as the bridge. John, what would make this conversation a standing ovation win for you? And Sean, how do you want Tom Brady to feel in that first moment of connection?
I know. So that's the beginning of what we have. I'll put that on mute for a second. Mm-hmm. So we have an emotional report.
Powerful opening.
We have an emotional report index that scores consistently throughout the communication the level of emotional rapport existing between the agent and someone else. Callie's not a yes-causing agent. So Callie's a knowing agent. So the yes-causing agents we are deploying currently. And I have all this on recording. I'd be happy to send you. I have nothing to sell you, right?
Yeah, no.
So be happy to send the recording. We have a venture capitalist who only takes deals where there's $100 billion possibility. And we have a client in our elite program, Blindness, who was having a conversation with him. This guy literally is one of the most intelligent human beings on the face of the earth. His name is Dustin Empley. So he's recording this conversation on Zoom with this person, and then brings the agents in the conversation with the venture capitalist. And the guy, when our agent was done communicating with him, building rapport, was laughing and saying, I want you as my 6th client. I have 5. I want you as my 6th. I absolutely see that this enterprise could be $100 billion value. We have drunken high people calling our agents for coming to events that click the link and saying, take your clothes off, agent. And the unbelievable reversal of emotional dynamics the agent will go through to build rapport with people. We have children talking to the agents. These are all on recordings. We have 50,000 phone calls recorded. So my point is, I don't think this is why I don't think
that this is the difference of what you do and what everybody else does.
Yeah. And thank you. But I think because most humans don't know how to communicate about this. And I'm going to say this is the greatest humility in the world. Mm-hmm. I've had the privilege of being on Tony Robbins' stage 19 times, breaking all the sales records. I've revamped your vertical consulting processes. So my core work in the world is on human influence. And I say what I do for a living is I collect relationships with people who can masterfully and integrally cause yes, You are clearly one of those humans, right? So I always want to add value, build relationships. Cole Hatter is one of those humans, Dan Fleischman. Like, so I'm building these types of relationships. We've taken all of that and put it into this AI. I mean, this isn't like we have 3 people working on it. We have a double-digit number of teammates full-time, onshore, not offshore, taking our tens of thousands of hours of content, but you can't just like dump it in and creating all these matrices and measurements and subcomponents. So when you're speaking with Callie, that agent I just had, that's actually 39 different agents. So under that one orchestrator agent, that makes it seem in real time, if you're talking to Callie, like you're talking to one agent. So one of those agents would be completely masterful at maintaining emotional rapport. And if emotional rapport gets shifted, then that agent is activated by the orchestrator to make sure emotional rapport is reinstated by all the things that I would do. Our goal, and to your friend's point or your colleague's point, I couldn't agree more, brother, is that we are not trying to replace the lowest end jobs. I am trying to replace me. The goal we set by the Christmas and holiday party is our agents, our top yes causing agent, will be better than me at yes causing by our Christmas and holiday party this Friday, right? It's Monday, it's Friday. I don't know if we're gonna get there, just in truth, but there's no way we're not gonna get there by the end of Q1, because at this point, our agents are better than 99% of salespeople. And that's a separate for charity $1 million bet that we have.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, because I wonder this all the time. How long do you think it's going to be before the government steps in and makes calling people with AI agents illegal?
Well, under the TCPA, and I know a lot about this, you can't call consumers now cold, right? That's a whole thing. You can call businesses
and opt-in leads
and opt-ins, and your existing client base. So if you have the language like an existing business relationship, it's got to be like a client, like not somebody on your social media, right? So what do I think is going to happen with the government? I think it's going to depend on who's in office, and it's going to get really, really complicated and tricky. But the place this is going for me anyway, in fun energy, is whatever happens, what I'm doing is I'm trying to have these agents become the top of everything for me in yes causing, putting partnership deals together. So where I think this is going is in 12 months, I think if I have it my way, I think my agent will be talking to your agent, and they'll be getting to an integrative resolution of what you and I should be doing together, because 100% you and I should be doing something together. The only reason we're not is because you're too busy and I'm too busy to figure it out. And we're too busy to build enough of a relationship to get through all the things. So most likely you and I will do nothing. And that's really foolish, because you seem like an amazing human. You have an amazing reputation. I should do something, but you're super busy. I'm super busy, and probably take 15 conversations to like build trust, to get through all the things. But what if your agent and my agent, programmed with mastery and integrity, is communicating, figuring out, and then telling us this is what we should do? That's what I'm building.
So as somebody that is an architect of AI, obviously this stuff, I mean, we can't help it. It's coming. This is going to unemploy people at some point. What do you think is the long-term solution for jobs?
Yeah. So it's funny. Dude, you're amazing. I mean, that's sincere. I don't say what I don't mean. I don't say what I don't mean, because I do acknowledge frequently, but I mean it. You're incredible question. You're listening so deep, great flow, unscripted, really masterful.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be in this space. Thank you. So, what I believe is a capitalist. I said I'm a capitalist. But I didn't say that I'm like playing Monopoly, right? And I didn't say I don't believe in antitrust laws. So what I think is going to happen at the end of the day is, and Tony Robbins, I spent a lot of time in his organization, his highest level program. And I love Tony. I'm grateful. I don't agree with everything Tony says and does, but I do agree with, this and, much of his thinking. And others that I've heard speak at, his events, some of the, Ray Dalios and other people, top financial minds in the world. There's no way that what I'm about to say, some form of it isn't going to happen, or more, is we're going to have a world of universal income.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to have to be, I believe in that, right? I do believe in safety nets. I believe that I was really blessed, as I said at the beginning, to have all the things happen. I have great empathy for people. So many, many jobs are going to be eliminated, and there'll be universal income. And I think the GDP, whatever form that takes, like value exchange, it might not be currency, it could be lots of different things, right? But in the end, I think there's going to be much, much more value created, and people are going to have a much greater opportunity to do things that are far more meaningful to them. So I believe in movement towards more utopia than dystopia, but I do believe that there's a lot of danger.
See, well, because my concern with that, right, is I think there's nothing more dangerous than a large swath of unmotivated population. Because that's when things get tricky. And my fear of that is I agree with you're probably going to have to go to some basic universal income, but you're going to create, for lack of a better phrase, an army of unmotivated, unsatisfied people because they're not, anytime somebody's just handing you something, the value of what they're handing you becomes less and less. Yeah. And I think as humans, we're programmed to a certain level to want to achieve things. And I think if there's no avenue for for the guy that right now is working at Ford, you know what I mean? And you see that apathy creep in and just, I think that's a recipe for massive discord. And that's the fear.
And brother, fully aligned, which is why if Elon Musk called me today and offered me, I am not a liquid billionaire at this point. Mm-hmm. I think my net worth has reached that place, right? But if Elon Musk called and asked me today, would you take $100 billion for your ActEye? My answer would be no. There's no price I would sell ActEye for. Period. Hard stop. No comma. Because what my outcome really at the end is to have everybody have, like the way everybody has a cell phone, to have our agents that they're communicating with. So that building army begins to think down a different path than, hey, let's go take the Lambo, the Rolls, and my beach house, and let's go kill those mother effers that are the bad guys because they have and we don't. Yeah. Which is, of course, what topples every empire, every system of government in the history of the planet. Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. That's why I think the war of who wins AI is so critical. And the game all the big players are playing, with great respect to them, is a game that I think could lead to categorical disaster, mm-hmm. which is why I was in California to begin with. That's why I'm in Las Vegas today, is because we want to win that game. And if Bill Gates and Microsoft can come out of a garage and do it, I 100% believe we can. And I believe there's 100 ways we could fail. I believe there's 5 or 6 ways we can win that game. But I'm very committed to winning that game for the very reasons you're saying. I couldn't agree with you more.
Wow. All right. Well, Sean, if they want to find you, how do they find you?
Yeah, it's Sean, Seanr, Callagy, Callagy, because a few Sean Callagys out there, Sean R. Callagy on Instagram. And we do have, as you do, a top-rated Apple business podcast. So you can find us at the Sean Callagy, Callagy, Unblinded podcast.
Love that. Dude, thanks for joining us, Sean. It was a great conversation. Listen, what you should take away from that today, and what I'm taking away from it, is a couple of things. Number one, there are no limitations to what you want to do. And that comes from physical limitations, things that may ail you, roadblocks that get in the way. All of these are choices to push forward. And you have a choice whether you can push forward for the betterment of not just yourself, but those around you. And in some cases, in this case, humanity, if you will. Make good choices. It's up to you. We'll see you next week. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Escaping the Drift. Hope you got a bunch out of it, or at least as much as I did out of it. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the show, you can always go over to escapingthedrift.com. You can join our mailing list. But do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, throw up that 5-star review, give us a share, do something, man. We're here for you. Hopefully you'll be here for us. But anyway, in the meantime, we will see you at the next episode.